Hey folks, this is Tobin from the TSWC Forecast, providing yet another commentary on our recent regionals at Total Escape in mid-April. This is a match between me and David Harvison. As you can see, there's a red win on 3 and a green win on 3 and 4, or no, 4 and 5. Farron, Yvarn, Iridial, Osis 4, and Barlas are our planets today. As always, additional art. This channel is supported by Brad Andres through his contributions of original art. I was trying to come up with some NPR style commitment there. Now, those astute viewers will notice that David has 7 resources, and he's playing Broderick War, and I'm playing Broderick War, but for some reason, I have yet to figure out I only have 6 resources. So, it's not a matter of anything other than my inability to count to 7 and recognize that I should have 7 resources. Even after paying 2, I should have 4. I should have, 5, and I have 4. So I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what's going on. This is one of the reasons why I blinked. I am still blinking at the fact that I did so well in this tournament. I mean, here I am. This is top 4. And I somehow don't give myself the right number of resources. So in this game between David and I, so this is the second match between David and I today. And the second match to be actually recorded. We recorded ourselves. And yes, I was choosing who was getting on and so on and so forth. And I chose who was getting on for the Swiss. And I thought it would be nice to see a Broderick on Broderick, war mirror match. And little did I suspect that we would be playing each other, 2 rounds later in the top 4. That just didn't seem to be something I was even predicting. So here we are. We're looking very similar, right? I've got command on Barlas. Now, one of the things here is that there weren't very many cards coming, right? We see 0 cards on the commit on the first 2 planets, 1 on the 3rd and 2 on the 5th. So I very quickly identified Barlas as a key commitment planet. And that's why I played the Sanctioned Psyker there. My idea was, okay, if he doesn't have cards, the resources don't matter. Right? And I knew that I had some inexpensive units, as does he. I mean, his deck is very similar to mine. Of course, there are differences, but the idea was that I'm going to draw cards. And here we are joking. David actually asked me how many cards I have in my hand, and I say, well, there's 3 on the table. I have 4, because, I can count. I'm not Pearson Payne. And then, the funny part here is the irony is that I apparently undercounted my resources. So anyways, as far as strategy goes, I'm also delaying on 1, okay? Because 1 is not significant in the fact that it's not a green planet. And having it does not lead to a win on 4. But having it does lead to a win on 3. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to delay, and then I'm going to pop a couple units down on Farron and take Farron. Okay, that's my strategy right now. But I also want Barlas. So when he plays the AIP on 2, I know I've got 1. Unless something really strange happens, of course. But the Steel Legion Chimera is almost worth 2 units, right? Oh, and he squeak bombs. Yep. So I should have 1 resource left, right? I don't, but I should. And I don't know. Usually I look at my hand and I calculate exactly how many resources I have and what my best play is, what cards I can play, what adds up to 7. But for whatever reason, this is, of course, this is the fifth match of the day for me. This is the sixth match of the day for David. So we're both getting to the point where we're kind of on automatic pilot. And so any diversion from norm or seeing the real specifics that aren't necessarily the specific nuances of the game that aren't necessarily like big and bold are hard to figure out. That's the only thing I can say. I mean, cool. Why would I give myself 6 resources, right? Now, the thing with David and I, we've played each other a lot lately in the various store championships and so on and so forth, and I've been blessed by being able to win most of those games. I think he won one of them along the way, but he's a deliberate and a tough player, and it's, I played, for those of you who listened to our latest episode, I played Elliot Hedman, who was a top 8 at Worlds, and he was playing War. Now, he wasn't very familiar with War. He played Kith at Worlds, so he's much more familiar with Kith, and he's admitted so. So I played Elliot round 3, David round 4 of Swiss, and then I played Elliot in the first round of the top 8, and then I played David here. So I ran, to some extent, a gauntlet, and we were all playing War. So it was War on War, 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 War. It was rough. And it's rough because there's, at one point you're just kind of guessing, okay, you have this, you have that, how do I get the upper hand on you this way? Whereas if you're playing a different warlord, you kind of know, you have a suspicion of how you're going to do it. So he plays a Mystic Warden on 1, and I kind of take a step back and go, okay, and then decide, all right, I'm going to go to 1 anyways. That doesn't change things because I have the Steel Legion Chimera. He has the troop transport on me, but that's only going to buy him 1 guardsman, who is not going to do damage to anyone but the Steel Legion Chimera. So we get 2 resources. I got a card. This is where he starts taking over in terms of resources. And I get 2 cards. So he has, I believe, 1 card. Because he didn't draw a single card on the commitment phase. I have a shield card or 2 in my hand. And he gets first attack. And so when the Chimera is on the board and part of my defense, I take a lot of opportunities to shield it. Mostly because, 1, it's a very valuable piece of machinery to me, and 2, it can really frustrate the opponent, right? Because you're trying to kill this thing that's protecting everything, and you just can't kill it anyways. You're trying really hard. So, it's a strategy. I don't intentionally try to frustrate my opponent, but I can see how it can be frustrating. And Taurus is our next planet. If you control fewer units than your opponent, you gain 3 resources, or you draw 3 cards. So I have 1 red. So I'm on the short bus. I'm on the fast bus. The short bus. I'm on the fast bus to winning on 3, which is now 2. He plays the commissary bolt pistol. I play the second troop transport. I had 2 in my opening hand. So when he squig bombed it, I was, this is kind of sucky, but that's fine. Not a big deal. So the Sicilian Shrine Guards are working overtime on the first 2 planets there. We've got each got a division working for us. And now I have initiative, right? So I have initiative on this first planet, Yvarn. And that's a big deal because I've built my deck around ranged units. Oh, and then I play forward barracks, which is the war of attrition card, right? And so I'm going to go to 1 here. There's no reason not to. I have the Steel Legion Chimera will come with me and protect everything. So that's what I do. So we have a push on 1 for commitment. I win a card. Again, winning my cards. I want to win the cards. And I get 2 from Barlas. And really the Sanctioned Cyclone Barlas probably is the game winner. Game-winning deployment for me. It's a close one between that and Steel Legion Chimera. And I apologize for the bouncing camera. The camera, as I've said in other videos, is on the table so we can get a good shot of this never-ending war playmat. But that makes it susceptible to idiots like me who tap the table when we play. So I popped the troop transport because I've got a preemptive barrage in my hand. And I want to try to hit people. So, and then I play preemptive barrage, I think, right here, right? Have I decided that it's worth it? Yeah, because if I play preemptive, I have 4 range units. And those are our new markers, the ones that the podcast paid for. And I had made up by a local gamer who does such things. They're little GRRG tokens. And David pops his troop transport and pops his preemptive barrage as well. So those are those GRRG tokens that we had originally envisioned for bloodthirsty markers, as well as unstoppable trigger markers, and these kinds of things. And it turns out that they're really wonderful for ranged units and all kinds of other little one-off triggers or identifiers. You could use them actually for a squigify. Like here, I'm going to put that on the text, and it's going to mean that, and maybe I turn it over so it's not face up, so it's blanking the text. So you can use it for a whole lot of things if you so desire, right? So that works. So David here, the thing that I'm thinking, I don't know what he's thinking, and I don't remember us talking about it later, but I remember thinking if he give range to war, then war is gonna skedaddle during the range skirmish, right? He's gonna because my whole intention here is to ping war and maybe bloody him, because there's a big difference between a war deck that with a bloody war and a war deck with a hail war. So I'm just thinking, okay, I'm gonna hit him. I have 4 units. He has 3. And so I'm sitting here thinking about who I'm going to attack. Again, this is why I said tired is a thing, right? Because then I just realized, oh, he has 0 cards. Oh, well then I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to hit him because the 2 damage is going to go through. He doesn't have an SLC, right? He doesn't have a Steel Legion Chimera, so we're good. So so he's reacting with Commissarial Bolt Pistol to do 1 damage to something, and I'll give you dollars to donuts that you can identify which unit he's gonna put it on. Yes, one of those 2 units, because it has to be an army unit. When an army unit he controls leaves play, the bolt pistol does the damage back to an army unit, so you can't hit tokens. And yes, I would have been wrong too. I was going to guess the Sealed Legion Chimera, and he put it on the Cadian Mortar Squad. I think mostly because he wants to just get rid of the Cadian Mortar Squad. And I realize he's in a hurting place here, because now I don't know if he ever even considered giving a war ranged so he could get out. Yeah, so the SLC might prevent 1, but it doesn't really do much for 5. So because even though it's still range skirmish, I'm going to trigger the Elysian assault team because I have initiative, and that means the Elysian will get to attack before anything from him. So then I go 2 to war. The Guardsman, I have a shield card in my hand. The Guardsman that he has with range there, it's about to attack. He's going to attack the Elysian assault team, I believe. Yeah, so the Elysian assault team will be able to survive if I have a shield card in my hand. But I cannot remember. And he's really deliberating who to attack. At this point, the Steel Legion Chimera is just a for the win card at this point, right? If you have a war of attrition, 1 Steel Legion Chimera can save your butt. So he goes for the Elysian assault team. I shield with summary execution. That's right. That's what I did. 2 to war. And so regular skirmish, range skirmish is over, regular battle begins. 3 at war. And boom, war is bloodied. So he hits the Chimera for 1. I pop this. Now, one thing I remember noticing now, is that he should have to pay for the Anxious Infantry Platoon. He doesn't, but that doesn't matter. He has 7 resources. Again, Bloody War is something that sometimes, oh, right, I have to do all these things. So, and at this point, the game is well in my hands. He doesn't have any cards, so I can just eliminate all his units. I have a forward barracks, for goodness sake. And there it is. And that's when you can be expedient about your action windows, folks. When your opponent doesn't have any cards in their hand and you have an overwhelming force. So I trigger Yvarn to put a Seraphim Allegra into play, bring my folks back. And then David concedes. He draws his first 2 cards and he concedes. So I have a Catachan, a Staging Ground, and a Sanctioned Sacker in my hand. He has 2 command units. And I would have drawn 2 combat units. Thanks for listening, folks. Have a good one and listen to our podcast. More top 4, more action from this tournament coming up.